Welcome to Ridgecrest Talk. I'm your host, Tonia Pyle, and joining me today are Chuck Griffin and his grandfather, Jim Bowers, who are going to tell us about their experience doing honor flight. And Chuck, you were your grandfather's escort on this flight. So how did that come about?
Well, my grandfather attended a veterans breakfast at the USO building, and Gary Zuber was there, him and his wife Karen from Kernville, and he represents honor flight in that area and over here. He talked to Grandpa about going on an honor flight, asked if he'd ever been to the World War II Memorial or the Korean War Memorial, and Grandpa filled the paperwork out, and next thing you know, he was on an airplane. So they called and asked if I would be here. Actually, Grandpa asked if I would be his guardian.
Oh, okay.
And I said I would love to. So we got all signed up, and we both went, and we had a blast. It's really just an amazing trip. It was the trip of my life, and especially to get to spend it with my grandpa.
I'll bet.
And if I get a little emotional, I'm sorry, but
yeah.
It was really the trip of my life, and to spend that much time with him was just amazing.
I'll bet. I'll bet. And why'd you pick him?
Well, he's strong and husky and be able to take care of me.
I see.
And I believed him to be a good wheel pusher. That's why he went along with me, to take care of me. The head of the group suggested that we take a wheelchair because there's going to be a lot of walking in those 4 or 5 days, and I need a wheelchair. Yeah. And buddy, he's a good one at it. He can wheel you up stair steps and everything.
We rode some wheelies up the stairs.
Yeah.
So you had to go upstairs, so it wasn't all.
No, everything's pretty well handicap accessible.
Okay.
I was just playing with him. We were leaving the Lincoln Memorial, and so we rode a wheelie down it, and just some picture sites. And when we went to the Tomb of the Unknown, it was raining, so that was a really neat experience to go there. It was the rain and watch the changing of the guards, and so we played a little bit there when we were leaving. But
had you ever been back to those
I have never
places
been
before?
Never.
Okay.
Have you ever been?
I was really surprised. I always knew that Washington, D.C. was a large place, but I didn't realize it was as large as it was. It took us, 3 or 4 days to see those businesses and things there. We really enjoyed it. He did, and I did also.
Boy, I remember on a family vacation as a young girl going to Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and even as a little girl, it's amazing to be there and experience that. And you got to be there with your grandfather.
I did. It was priceless. We went to Hiroshima, and we were there at that memorial, and we got out of the bus and we walked over, and he looks at me and he says, "Hey son, I was there. I watched them raise that flag." And so it was like really emotional for me at that point. He started telling me so that he was there and watched them raise the flag up.
You were in Japan then?
Pardon me?
You were there in Japan.
And I was in Korea during the Korean War, Pusan and Incheon. In fact, I was in Incheon, Korea when my baby daughter was born in Phoenix, Arizona.
Donna? Was that Donna?
Yeah.
I know she's awfully proud of you. I saw her this morning at the breakfast.
What happened, I was in World War II, and I stayed in the Navy Reserve.
Okay.
So when the Korea broke out, they wrote me a letter and give me a privilege to resign or be subject to call to duty. I had 3 children then, and I took it to the recruiting office, and they said, "You can do what you want to, but if it gets bad enough, they'll call you anyway, and you'll lose your rank." So I checked subject to call to duty. In 2 weeks, I was in the Los Angeles Officer Procurement Station taking a physical.
Things
and
took...
it went on and on.
Wow. Wow, well, I know you're awfully proud of your grandfather.
I am very proud of him.
Mhm.
He's a flirt. We found that out on the
Is that
trip.
right?
Well, I kind of knew that, but
Yeah.
Well,
if there's any
don't tell his
veterans that
wife.
are watching it,
It wasn't
they want to go.
bad. Being away from home was the worst part of it, but
So did you, so you feel a camaraderie with the other people then who are also on the flight? How did that go with the whole group?
We made friendships. I met people from Bakersfield, Kern County sheriffs. There were some guardians that went, and so it was neat because you make those relationships and they'll last a lifetime. And he got to meet several veterans, and it was neat to hear their stories, sitting at dinner, because we have lunch, dinner, everything together. The honor flight's great. They feed you breakfast, lunch, and then when you get back to your hotel, they have a full dinner for you, and it was really nice. We got to go, I think one of the highlights was we got to go to Kevin McCarthy's office.
Ooh.
yeah.
And that was really neat. He took us in. We went on the house floor, and we got to go to his office, and Grandpa enjoyed that. He sat at his desk and messed and got pictures of him. And then today at the Veterans Breakfast, Kevin McCarthy had a flag flown over the Capitol in my grandfather's honor, and so we presented that to him today. So
now this is fresh.
We
this
just
is
went.
just fresh.
Yes, we went in May.
You went this May.
Yes.
So it's like you're still.
I'm still
talking
looking
about
at pictures.
it.
I think we got 1,500 pictures, and then they brought a professional photographer along, so he took pictures. So you have pictures of everybody. It's really just amazing.
We should have had you bring some of your pictures.
We should have.
Today.
Maybe next time we'll do it again, because I'm working with Honor Flight with Gary and Karen, trying to get it started over here and get a
and they're going to be
big
joining
kickstart.
me. They're going to be here in a
They're
couple
great
weeks.
people.
So maybe we can catch up with some of your pictures. Then we've got about 30 seconds before we go on a break. So we were. I hear Kevin McCarthy's office is pretty amazing. He's got some nice picture of Lincoln up there.
He's got a really neat
flag that flew over the
the Capitol.
The Capitol. He presented it to me today.
Wow. Well, and that was
wow.
at the breakfast that you have monthly. We're going to come back and talk a little bit more about all of this. We're going to take a break right now. We'll be right back.
All right.
Welcome back to Ridgecrest Talk with our honor flight guest, Chuck Griffin, with his grandfather. He escorted on an honor flight to Washington, D.C. to see your memorial. You'd never seen your memorial, had you ever been to Washington, D.C.
No,
before?
I never had seen any of it until this trip.
Oh, what did that mean to you?
Oh, it was just great. And I enjoyed it so much I didn't get tired because he wouldn't let me walk too much.
Well, good.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
proud
the way
of
it's
you.
supposed to be.
Yeah,
That's the way it's supposed to be.
And what thrilled me so much, he was enjoying it as much or more than I was, and that made me feel good.
Yes. Well, we're so proud of your service.
Yeah.
We're so proud and thankful for
Thank
your
you.
service. And, it really does touch us very deeply. And well, now tell us about your service in World War II. Where were you? Were you with the Navy?
Navy.
Okay. Is that why you live here in Ridgecrest? Because
Yeah.
you're a Navy man? Is that why?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I went into the Navy when I joined the Navy in 1943. I was 17 years old.
Okay.
And took my training in San Diego, and then went to sea. Most of my service was in the South Pacific. I was aboard an APA and attack transport.
How long is your training for something like that?
Oh, 6 weeks during World War II. They wanted to hurry up and get us out.
Oh boy. Okay.
And so we went aboard the George F. Elliott, and and an attack transport. We hit about every South Pacific islands.
Okay.
What we were doing, landing Marines on those Japanese-held islands, and sometimes soldiers, but most of the time we had Marines going in to those islands. And I have just received another star from the Navy for my ribbons, a Silver Star, and but I was a kid. I wasn't scared. Well, Admiral Halsey, I believe it was, made a statement that he'd rather have a young man in battle for his first time than any other type of Indian, because he didn't realize the danger and the fear. But we made it good. God brought us through it safely.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And you were then a pastor when you came back from your service.
Yes. When I came back from service, I made a commitment to the Lord at our home church, and felt an urge that I needed to express it. And I attended our Bible institution there in Cleveland, Tennessee, the Church of God Bible School.
Okay.
And I got so anxious I couldn't stay there and finish. I had to get on the road. So I've traveled in several different areas, state of Washington.
Now, what year was this? About what year was this?
It was in 1950.
Okay.
50.
The 50s.
51, Donna was born. Yeah, about 52 and 53. And we really enjoyed it. My wife and kids took them all over the country to pastor different churches, which we enjoyed it. And God gave us, I think, a profitable ministry in the work. And it was a lot different than the Navy work.
So you went from the Navy to the army of the Lord, so to speak, right? Okay.
And
when did you retire from that?
Pardon me?
When did you retire from that?
8 years ago.
Oh, that's pretty recent.
Let's see, we married in 9 years, wasn't it?
Yeah. So you
I
were
guess
81?
about 9, 10 years ago. I was pretty, I think I was 84, 85 when I retired. And my first wife that worked with me a lot, she went on to be with the Lord.
Okay.
And I told one of the board members after about a year there by myself as a pastor, I told him I felt like it might be good if a young pastor would come in here. I said to him, it's not the same without my wife. And she was such a part of this ministry. And he said, you can say that again, 50% or more. I said, thanks, Bill. I said, thanks.
Well, what are friends for, right?
Yeah. So that was the end of it. And we, his mother, and I have a sister lives in Ontario area, found a young lady in the church, and we got married about 8 years ago. Nell and I.
I've met her too.
Yeah.
She's so nice.
And she was
dear.
She's not as nice as my grandma, but she's nice.
They pastored for about 40-some years.
Okay. Very interesting. So, well, we're getting ready to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to hear a little bit more. I want to hear this story. Well, we've got about a minute before we take that break, but I want to be sure and get the story about your going on this ship in Korea where your brother was on this ship. So
that carried the papers that year.
Did it? Oh, well, we want to be filled in on that. Yeah, so in the meantime, I notice you've got your knees all scruffed up working at the breakfast
ignore
this
my
morning.
appearance. I'm filthy dirty. I've been
You
down there
were
cooking since about 6:30.
On the barbecue with the charcoal and stuff, all that?
Yeah, we're doing breakfast the third Thursday of the month for the veterans, and for every veteran. I don't care which war you were in, Desert Storm, Vietnam, any war. It would be nice to have them all down there because it's just a great time of fellowship, and the food's being sponsored. So if I can, I'd like to say thanks. We've got some good sponsors right now that are helping with the food. Mojave Pistachios, Mather Brothers Dairy, Factory Graphics is helping us, CTA.
Well, we're going to tell them more about that when we come back from this break. We'll tell people how they can hook up.
That'd be great.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to Ridgecrest Talk with our guest Jim Bowers and his grandson Chuck Griffin, talking about their honor flight. And so now tell me what you were struck by most. Was there something that really stood out on this trip?
You know, I've been asked that several times, and I've tried to think of one thing that could have been above the other, but everywhere we went, it was just fabulous, and
I can appreciate
I can't think
that.
of anything except better. It was all
the
just
whole
great.
thing.
I'd hate to make one greater than the other.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I think just having your grandson there and
Oh yeah, that was a blessing. Yeah.
It was a blessing to go with my grandpa. So.
And you know, I'm surprised he would go because he's in the construction business and take off a week or 10 days.
Yeah.
But it's blessed him. I mean, he ever since then he's been involved in the veterans and their course of life.
Yes.
Yeah, my goal is I want to see every veteran, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam.
Yeah. I'd like to
Kern
go
County
again
get to go.
sometime.
So
That would be
I really
great.
want to get it going here.
Yes. Oh, good. Very good. Now, I want to make sure that I want to hear about that story. You were telling me, did you run into your brother on a ship in Korea? It was
No.
what happened here?
Well, my duty station was up on the bridge of the ship where the captains and everything's at.
So this was the Korean War,
Korean War.
and you were on a ship in the Pacific.
And we were anchored out of Pusan, taking patients. I was aboard a hospital ship,
Oh,
and we had a pontoons on each side of the ship, and we were getting the wounded sometimes within minutes from shot on the plane. And I was on the bridge, and I mentioned to the captain casually, I said, "Captain, my brother's on Old Baldy," which is I guess 100 miles on inland or less.
Oh.
What's the chance of me getting a leave of absence and go and see him? He said, "I don't know, Bolts," but said, "I'll see what I can do." And in less than 3 days, he called me up to his office and he said, "I got it handled." And I said, "What?" "You can go see your brother." And it was just a conversation, really. I didn't think it'd be a chance. He said, "I've got to sign you to the Army, to his outfit, for 10 days. And you can get up there however you can get there, I don't know."
Oh.
So I got aboard and went ashore and got a ride in a Jeep. And he took me right to the PX in the Incheon. And he said, "I'll tell you what, boat sailor, we'll drive around and see if your brother's Jeep's outfit is on the parking lot." And we drove about 5 or 10 minutes, and he said, "There's one there. They paged for the driver of Jeep such and such to report to the sentry there." And believe it or not, it was my brother's commanding officer.
Oh,
And
how wonderful.
so we took off. I got in the back of the Jeep. I had to leave that little white hat off, put a helmet on. And the Navy, the headlines of the paper was, Navy goes to Old Baldy. And to make a long story short, as we drove into my brother's outfit, he was a motor pool sergeant. And the captain drove his Jeep right in where my brother was working. Of course, I'm sitting in the back Jeep with smut all over my face after a 100-mile drive and iron hat. And the captain said to my brother, Sergeant Bowers, Sergeant Bowers. My brother run out, yes, sir. He said, have you seen a ship come up through here? My brother told me later he thought the old man had too much to drink. And he said, yeah, a ship. He said, a ship, sir, a Navy ship? He said, yeah, I got a sailor back here in the back. And I laughed, and he just had that time of his life. And I stayed there about 3 or 4 days, and he and one of his buddies came and stayed aboard my ship 4 days, and we had a nice 2-dime visit. And it was
isn't
great.
that something?
But
That's great.
my hometown paper carried a big story on it than the others.
Where's your hometown?
Lenore City, Tennessee.
Lenore, Tennessee. Lenore City,
Out of Knoxville,
Tennessee.
about 20 miles.
Okay. Yeah. Very interesting. Well, you were a long way from home.
Oh,
and you
yeah.
got to hang out with your brother.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
He couldn't believe it.
I'll bet not.
And the thing that surprised me most, they were in firing range. A lot of people on Old Baldy. But the thing that impressed me most, they had good food. I mean, they've had chow. I mean, it wasn't rationed food. I mean, they set the table.
Well, rice is his
way up
favorite
there.
food.
I told him,
okay.
I said, I can't believe this. He said, yeah. And they do it.
He likes rice.
Huh?
You like rice, huh?
Oh, no, I had too much of that during the Navy. I went several days without any food but rice, and now I can't even stand to look at it.
Before we go, in 30 seconds, how can people hook up with the Veterans Breakfast? Is it every third Thursday?
The third Thursday of the month. My phone number is 760-382-6047. Contact me if you want to help. Volunteers are great. The biggest thing is we want all veterans to come out and have breakfast. It's free of charge. Like I said, they're sponsored right now, and if anybody does want to sponsor a business, I have got a van that I've purchased, and we're going to have that wrapped, and I'm going to put the sponsors' names on it. And if anybody wants to help with the honor flight, like I said, I want to try to get that going here and do a flight just of Ridgecrest veterans. It's free to the veterans.
Okay.
And so if somebody wants to sponsor a veteran, that would be great. The Guardians do have to pay, but the veterans the trip is completely free. Guardians, they don't typically like the spouse to go, only because there's about 4 miles of walking a day, and somebody could
Might be
have
a little rough.
Yeah, it could be a little rough. So if they have a family member that could be a guardian, they could go, or the county. There's plenty of people that volunteer to be guardians that just pay their way to go and love it. So,
well, I thank you so much for coming by and telling us about your experience.
Thank you
and sharing
very
it
much.
with us. And thank you for your service.
You.